Which industries are being targeted the most? So we have a metric we have called our industry threat index. And there's a whole math equation around it. If you are interested in how we come up with this threat index, go ahead and take a look at the reports. There's a link below this video or to the side somewhere that I'll send you to the written report. We have all the mathing documented in there. So for those math-minded people, go ahead and check that out. But what this index does is it tells us which industries are being targeted the most. And what's been interesting about the last year or two is, generally speaking, there's been fairly little deviation across most industry verticals. When we look at the metrics from our big annual cybersecurity report, I'll link that in the show notes for those folks that are interested. That report takes a whole year's worth of data, so much larger data set. But what's interesting is that we've seen, it doesn't really matter what industry vertical you're in, you are being targeted. It doesn't matter what vertical you're in anymore. That said, we continuously see the mining industry, the research industry, and the entertainment industry at the top of that list. So like I said, there's little variation between the various industries and various verticals, but these three are consistently on the top end of that list. And I look at this, entertainment is the one that really stands out to me, because when we dig into our data, it's a lot of things around online gambling, placing bets, things like that. There's money involved in that process, right? So we see that as a reason why entertainment is targeted quite a bit. And when I look at research, I think about things like intellectual property. Anytime that a threat actor can gain access to intellectual property, they can do all kinds of things. They can try to ransom it back. They can double extort, like, oh, hey, give me money or I'm going to release this to the public. And then they go do it anyway after the fact, right? There's a lot of trouble that they can get into in terms of the research industry and the mining space. That one's interesting to me. One of these days, I would love to do a deep dive specifically on targeting in the mining space with all that spare time I have. But to me, when I look at mining, I think of precious metals. And I can't imagine there's a ton of players in that space. But there's money in that industry, right? There's a lot of money to be made in the mining industry. So I have to imagine that's why it's at the top of the list. That's my opinion, though. What do you think, Eric?
I would also be interested in how that research goes. What did they? And I'm also wondering, part is are they having good success there? Like you were saying before, we do this because it works. Are the people in the mining industry especially susceptible to saying, "Sure, here you go, you know, have the keys
Right.
to our diamond kingdom or our cobalt kingdom," or I'm curious, and also I would like to see some studies done across the entire. It's nice to get these three that pop out, but how is that playing out across? Because like in the healthcare space, I'll tell you, we don't
Oh,
sleep,
yeah.
you know,
You don't. You guys are targeted a lot.
all the time. And then of course
Yep.
in finance is. I mean, I assume your finance people by now have been trained. They should, at least the ones that slip through the tools, at least your finance folks should be somewhat less susceptible to. I
I
don't know.
I would
I'm just kind of curious at this overall how this is all working out and why these three as you asked, and then why not the others? As